Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen news, looking at roadmap updates, Alpha 3.5.1, Origin celebrations, new customization system details, the black market in 3.6, work on the Esperia Prowler, and a quick summary of the official Star Citizen videos for the week ending the 2nd of June. Let's start with the newsletter, Origin of Love. As Alpha 3.5.1 prepares to go live, we prepare to fly to new heights as the Origin Jump Works launches the 2949-300 series, alongside manufacturer-level ship customization and complimentary test flights as part of its celebration event next week. So this should be pretty cool. We're getting test flights, so we should have the ability to try these ships out for free, I believe is the idea there. 3.5.1 should be live at the same time with all those 300 series variants, that new customization system. We're not entirely sure exactly what form of in-game customization that will allow specifically, because a lot of that customization side of things is manufacturer customization at time of sale, and we're not sure if we're going to have all of that in-game with in-game currency straight from the off, or if it's more going to just be on the website side of things. So we know that ship customization we're getting for 3.5.1 and next week is for ships, specifically really the 300 series at this stage, and you're going to be able to change paint jobs, items, and weapon packages as a single sort of like package or bundle for those weapons or items. But you're also going to be able to change internal aesthetics, so paint internally. You're going to have the ability to change chairs, seating, materials, steering wheels, flare items, some items that will eventually have function like drinks and food makers, bed sheets, lots and lots of things. Any customizations as well in 3.5.1 that you do to your ships in and out of game, whatever. If I buy a new weapon in-game with in-game currency and fit it to my ship, when I reclaim that ship, that customization will stay there. So I'll be reclaiming that ship with any updates that ship's had made to it, which is a major improvement and great. And for a lot of people, they will sort of like find some of this new ship customization from the sort of like manufacturer side at point of purchase kind of irrelevant for them. They're not going to need to purchase items and weapons if you can just literally go in game and pick much more specifically which items and weapons you want, and they still persist anyway. Obviously, they will get wiped when there's a server wipe still, which happens at least every 3 months at the moment, but eventually that will happen less. The weekly sneak peek is of the Origin Jump suit, racing suit sort of thing, which I assume will be available during the Origin celebration, and we'll have to see if all Origin ships are on sale at the time, and if there's lots of other little flare items and things. Full links for the newsletter and all mentioned content in the description below. Let's have a look at the Persistent Universe roadmap with Alpha 3.6, which is the next major update planned for the end of June. We have the transit systems, hover mode, the P-52 Merlin rework, the 890 jump, and the weapons of 3.6, all seeing major progress. One of the important server-side updates, asynchronous disconnection refactors, have been completed, which is fantastic. Work has started on the shield systems tech replacement as well, which will see side distance fields used to sort of like make really cool shields sort of like to form around the hulls much more closely. Work has started on the new Babbage landing zone for 3.8, and for 3.9 the Origin landing zone has started work. They've also had like around 40% of its tasks already completed for that Origin landing zone, which is interesting. With the Squadron 42 roadmap, the Shubin miner suit is complete. The gunner outfit and basilisk armor and player look have seen additional tasks added though. Standard pilot AI, hover mode, and vehicle scanning have all seen great progress. In fact, AI across the board with Squadron 42 Episode 1 has seen a lot of tasks completed, which is good news for Star Citizen's Persistent Universe as well. Let's take a look at inside Star Citizen, and we're going to focus on the Xperia Prowler and the black market economy here. They did talk a lot about the customization system, and there was a lot about the customization system in a Q&A, but I've done a very specific detailed video on that, which I will link below, looking at those. But let's start out with the black market economy, which is going to be in 3.6. It has two separate groups of items it focuses on. Illicit goods, so Narcotics that would be commonly illegal items wherever you were detected in the system. They're sort of like illegal system-wide typically, or in lots of locations. There's also stolen goods, which may be legal, but have been acquired illegally. So stolen goods may be able to be sold to specific people in an area. You might have to track someone down or work out where someone is, where if the law of an area has outlawed an item entirely, that's an illicit good. You would typically then not be able to sell that item in an area at all. You wouldn't be able to find anyone to buy that item from you. So they might be very specific places you would have to go to sell it. You should be able to then sell stolen goods, outlaw mission or looted items to certain shopkeepers, maybe for a bit less money than if you actually owned the item legally. Illicit goods are just illegal in the area you're trying to sell them. This will change from area of space, planet, or station that you're on, but it's like narcotics, widow, slam, neon, that sort of stuff. Possessing these goods will get you in trouble if you get scanned, though there will be high potential profits. There will be consequences for being caught with these items, and that's the idea of the black market. You are able to sell those goods to certain traders in 3.6. Let's have a look at the Esperia Prowler. So they've just done a white box review of the Prowler. This is the modernized Tavaran dropship that's been made human ready. This is the first major stage in a 4-step pipeline of getting the ship flyable as well, the white box review. There is a rear ramp, loads of doors so the crew can exit and enter quickly. It's got this sort of like force fields that come up so that the ship isn't depressurized, while you can literally jump out. You don't need the doors to be closed while you're flying around in space is the idea. It's a really cool drop ship that can carry 22 crew. The pilot and co-pilot are stacked on top of each other, so one is above the other on different decks. The pilot has a massive unrestricted view. The wings of the ship fold down for VTOL and landing, as well as giving sort of like cover to the Marines that leave the ship on the sides. It's a very cool looking ship, and I'm very excited. It will be the first Tavaran ship, or I suppose it's a modernized Esperia version, but it was still a Tavaran-inspired ship, Tavaran sort of style, that we will have flyable in-game, and that is planned for 3.8 at the moment. Let's take a look at Star Citizen Live making ship up. They talked a little bit about their ship process, and I'll go over this in brief. They have external artists they still use for some concept art. They have internal artists for this purpose too, and they use different artists for different stages and have good relationships with a lot of the external ones as well. Older concept ships don't have the same detailed metrics that they used when planning them as they do now, which is why you see these older ships typically grow in size, as they weren't planned out with the full internals white boxed in full. So the concept phase, they go through with some of these ships. Now they have to work out how to expand and accommodate those features. Sometimes they have to rework bits if they were sort of like part of the way through production. There are lots of factors that go into them choosing what ships go into production when. They sort of like, when are they going to get them flight ready? So they need to consider what's needed for Squadron 42 Episode 1. They want to try and get at least some ships into each quarterly update for the persistent universe. So they balance short and long-term needs. They try to actively fill holes in gameplay with new ships, and when new features are coming out, they might try to add or prioritize a ship. They also might drop some more concept ships to fill in holes in gameplay. They build ships out in a modular process, well, at least as modular as possible. They try to have in mind that things might change or be added in the future. They might put some placeholder items in if necessary. There were some serious metric issues with the original design for the Vanguard Warden. It has a large amount of components for redundancy, and they sort of like weren't included in the original design properly, so that they wouldn't be able to fit in the original design. So they had to rework that. It's one of the reasons it was reworked, so they could get all those parts in there properly. As they build out ships, if they don't have room for all the features, components, and facilities, then they'll have to be made larger or reworked somewhat. The M50 is still on the old non-UV2 system for damage. Basically, they have to model the ship 4 times for the old system in for different damage states on each of the areas. Obviously, that's not particularly efficient. The UV2 system they use for all the other ships is significantly better, so they will be updating that at some point. There are ongoing improvements and quality of life bits that are constantly being worked on, but don't appear on the roadmap, so they're either very small things or they don't know exactly where they're going to land, but ships are constantly updated. Some turret placements are suboptimal on some of the ships for various reasons. The older concepts were less reasoned where turrets would be. They kind of put them where they look cool. Some are placed because of manufacturer and brand reasons or balance reasons. But in general now, they are much more thought out where they will place a turret. In an ideal world, they will be able to tweak and fix turret placements, go back to some of the ships that haven't got great coverage with their turrets. Combat snubcraft are much more of a deterrence and defense rather than supposed to be offensive ships. When designing ships with a focus, they try to work out what the community might want to do with that ship, how they might try and take it out of its focus for reasons. Do they want to include and allow some of this gameplay? What sort of customizations do they want so that like a carrot can become a different type of ship? Can someone focus it for a different kind of gameplay? That sort of thing. They try to keep that in mind. But the community heavily do influence the design of ships, and feedback really makes a difference, as does current gameplay. Things that are done in game now and are repeatedly done does influence the way the ships are sort of like put into the game, the way they evolve them. They feel that they have a good ship pipeline when it comes to the like tool and efficiency end, but they always want it faster and more optimized. The Hammerhead was built out pretty quickly because it used a lot of the Idris assets, textures, etc., the Idris kit. So some ships can be built out very rapidly because they have a load of the assets already and they just need to do a much smaller amount for ships. But as they get more and more ships done, that does allow more and more assets for other ships to be sort of like reused. 64 SCU boxes are the biggest they are planning to currently have for cargo, or at least the ones they mentioned. These are massive, obviously, compared to the 1 SCU ones we have. Some older ships might have a bed and no toilet, but they are looking at those ships. When they build out ships now, they typically have a toilet if they have a bed. They sort of like have that marked down as the most Spartan of features for ships that have a bed. So no, not all ships will have a bed, but the ones that do, they want to have sort of like, you know, you sleep, you poo. That's the idea there. So they will look at the older ships that only have a bed and they might put a toilet in. We'll have to wait and see. Doors and manned turrets will be entry points, as well as probably large windows and elevators and ramps into ships. You'll be able to blow some of these up to get entry into ships. The ship matrix and the data at the moment on that ship matrix is largely incorrect, unfortunately, and is put in manually. They want it to be at least partly automated with being able to pull info from game files, but there are systems and items that are still not ready for this yet. There's lots of components that aren't ready, lots of ship systems, that sort of stuff. They tend to update ships and the data there manually in batches at this stage. They can be working on ships as well for up to 18 months before backers even know about them. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For June, we have an Origin 890 Jump, the massive luxury ship that should also be flyable with Alpha 3.6 at the end of the month. That is a huge sort of like capital luxury ship. It's been donated by Odyssey Interstellar, a friendly industrial expansionist organization in Star Citizen that focus on mining, trading, industry, exploration, research, and infrastructure. In short, commerce is their goal. They run regular weekly events in-game now. Please check them out if you are looking for an org to join. Links down below. There are a couple of services I shield for as well that you might find useful. If you're looking for a VPN, then check out NordVPN. I use it for security, privacy, and more. It has massive advantages over free VPNs, and if you use the code BoredGamer, you get 75% off your subscription. Boom! Also, there is Shadow Cloud Gaming. This is an alternative to having your own or upgrading your gaming rig on PC. It leverages the power of the internet and your own Shadow server that emulates a high-spec Windows 10 PC, so you can play up to 144Hz 4K anywhere with an old PC, laptop, smartphone, or even tablet. Freedom to play anywhere. The internet is good enough anyway, and it works really well with Star Citizen and all the games that I play, and is constantly updated and even improved with new hardware. Again, use the code BoredGamer for discount. Links below to all of that jazz. Thank you to all that support the channel through Patreon, the YouTube join button, donations, subscribe star, as well as anyone that just generally subscribes, likes, comments, and shares my content. Dings that bell, ding ding. If you feel so inclined, you can find links to all of that down below. A special thank you though to my VIP producers this month: Dalamars, Catastrus, Raz, Gear Khan, General Aventador, Robert Johnson, and Andy Green, who have given well beyond the norm in support for the channel. I know a load of other people have, but I can't name them all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.